With so many of the biggest racing franchises fighting for the spotlight, indie racing games often get overlooked, so with this video I want to show you 5 games you should play. This is my personal list based on games I bought with my own money that I play regularly and consider to be some of the best indie racing games available today. Fans of virtual racing are gonna enjoy Formula Retro Racing. It has all the hallmarks of a classic racing game. Low poly graphics, solid physics, hectic racing, and an over-the-top announcer. It's an arcade racer in every sense of the word, even going as far as setting a timer for every little thing, from selecting your track down to your car. The only difference is that it doesn't cost you any extra coins in case you let it run out. Unlike virtual racing though, there's a sense of weight to the cars that will definitely throw you off at first, as you don't expect this sort of thing in this type of racing game, but it's a welcome feature nonetheless. It offers very little in the way of content to explore and unlock, but it's a very easy to pick up and play type of game, which might appeal to some people. On the surface, Slipstream might remind you of Top Gear 2 for the SNES, but that's where the similarities stop because they're completely different games. Whereas Top Gear 2 is focused on racing on individual set tracks, Slipstream is a racing game based on stages with a drifting mechanic. The game gives you an option to choose your next stage whether you win or lose to your rival. Take the left exit, you'll be taken to a different stage. Take the right one, and you'll be taken to a completely different one. What's cool about it is that the game seamlessly transitions to the next stage while you're racing, which keeps the action going uninterrupted. The physics are solid, but the drifting mechanic can be a bit difficult to master. Still, it's a fun game that's very easy to get in and out of, and the soundtrack is awesome. Hotshot Racing is another racing game that draws from the classics like Virtual Racing and Daytona USA. And it's the most faithful one out of this list. The cars feel very light, which is very characteristic of that era, and the AI is aggressive, making you feel like it's constantly trying to screw you out of one more coin. This game is absolutely packed with stuff to do and unlock, with tons of customization items and a good variety of different modes that go from plain racing to cops and robbers. The game has recently got its first free DLC that adds a different game mode, more achievements, and more stuff to complete. It's a difficult game on the hardest difficulty, but if you enjoy a good challenge and you feel like playing a game that's very easy to get into, that's the one to get. And if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, you can play the game for free. Horizon Chase Turbo is the spiritual successor to Top Gear 2 in every sense of the word. It reminds that game so much so that you'd be excused for mistaking it for a modern follow-up. If you play Top Gear 2 on the SNES, you know what to expect. Gorgeous graphics, cars that feel great to drive with very simple controls, tons of different tracks, coins to collect, upgrades to unlock, and a bunch of different modes that will keep you busy for a very long time. And what's more, despite being nearly 3 years since the game was released, the developers are still supporting the game with DLC and community events. There's a reason why I left Inertial Drift for last. Not only it's my favorite one on this list, but it's a love letter to Ridge Racer Type 4, which happens to be one of my favorite racing games of all time. Everything I love about Ridge Racer Type 4 is here on Inertial Drift. You get some very moody tracks that cover mountains, seaside, and modern cityscapes, all bearing a striking resemblance with Japan, and every one of them nails that chill vibe, complemented beautifully by the awesome custom soundtrack in the same soft house/lounge sound reminiscent of Ridge Racer Type 4. And it's by far the game that gives you the most amount of stuff to do. And I really mean it. You have a story mode that spans 4 different characters exactly like Ridge Racer Type 4, a challenge in arcade mode, a completely separate Grand Prix mode, and both split screen and online multiplayer. Inertial Drift is that type of game that constantly have you unlocking new stuff with everything you do. And I didn't even mention the main thing about this game yet that sets it apart from the rest. What makes it unique is that it's a twin stick racer. You accelerate and brake with the triggers just like every other racing game out there, but with the left stick you control the direction of the car, while with the right one you control the angle of your drifts. You need to learn to use both at the same time to control your car, otherwise you'll be hitting walls a lot. I know it sounds counterintuitive, and I'll say I was skeptical after watching trailers explaining this mechanic, but it's so well done that it's very easy to understand how it works, and it quickly becomes very intuitive once you start playing it. However, that does not mean the game is easy though. Thanks to how different each car feels from one another, you have to adapt your driving, and it's gonna take you a while to figure out how you should be driving each one of them. If you like Ridge Racer, do yourself a favor and go pick it up. Before I wrap up the video, I wanted to throw in an honorable mention to Lonely Mountains Downhill. Technically, it's not a racing game, even though I consider it to be one since you're basically racing against the clock, but on a mountain bike instead. It's a beautiful game that has you running down trails, trying to find and optimize the best routes to reach your final destination in the shortest time possible. Despite the simple looks, this game is hard as hell. If you're not ready to try the same section over and over again, you'll probably get frustrated very quickly. But if you give it time and just enjoy the process of learning the routes rather than trying to do them quickly right out of the bat, you'll understand the appeal of this game. It's very much like learning how to play a drum fill. You need to understand the basics, learn the sticking patterns, and slowly build the muscle memory by repetition. Speed will come naturally. That's how this game works, and they released a new DLC adding an entirely new mountain with a different theme. The game is available on Xbox Game Pass, so if you're a subscriber and want to give it a go, just download it. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. Hope you enjoyed this list and found something cool to play. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.